He put out some stuff about how he and his friend sat down in an afternoon, and on the back of an envelope or a napkin, they figured out how much everything's going to cost at Tesla. Really? Really? That's the guy I don't want doing my taxes. I don't want any accountant telling me that, oh yeah, your taxes are about $10,000 or $2,000. Oh, maybe I'll pull another number out of my and I'll give you that. At the end of the day, we know exactly how much everything costs. I don't get too upset too often, but all we really sell is integrity. So what I'm going to give you are the conservative numbers we have right now, but I absolutely flat out know that Tesla is probably looking at 40% gross profit. We look at these numbers and we say, okay, Tesla sold a vehicle for $49,000. Okay, that's what the sticker price is. But Tesla gets extra revenue. If you want to buy full self-driving, that's another 10 grand.
15 grand.
15 grand now. 15 grand. That's clean, pure profit. Does that show up in the sale? No, it doesn't. But that's where my 40% is coming from, and it may be even more than that. Tesla is rolling in dough. I don't know where they hide it or how they do what they do, but I can tell you right now, I work for several different big automotive companies in Europe, in Japan, and here in the United States. And I can tell you what, nobody can do that. Nobody, absolutely nobody. How much does Tesla make in net profit? Take a wild guess. If you're less than 20%, you're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the starting point. Now you go on top of it. So when I said that Tesla could cut their profits in half and still make more money than any car company on the planet, I am not kidding you. And if you don't believe that, ask the guys over at VW with the ID4. The ID4 now is $4,000 more expensive than a Model Y. Who in the hell is going to buy the Model Y, who's going to buy an ID4 if I can get a Model Y with the best charging systems on the planet, with all the right things going for it, with the fact that they're probably going to beat everybody to full self-driving eventually. I wanted to do it all by myself when he started talking about talking through your and but they won't let me do that here. Apparently it's degrading and the woke people will get all upset and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the talking through my thing.
In this video, Sandy Munro unleashes the fury in a truly epic rant. He's mad and it is a joy to watch. Savage Sandy is not messing around, sharing Munro Associates estimates for profit margins on Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y versus the abysmal gross automotive margins of other automakers. Sandy Munro also lays the smackdown on some self-proclaimed experts, shares some insights into car stealerships, and details possible profit margins for Tesla's Cybertruck coming later this year. So strap yourselves in, boys and girls. And here's a fun fact. If you were to join Patreon and watch one exclusive video every single day, you'd still be watching new content 9 months from now. We're fast approaching 300 exclusive videos, plus continued up-to-date access to my Tesla price targets and optional access to my Tesla valuation model. So put yourself out of your misery, join Patreon now with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment.
Today I'm with Corey, and what we're going to do is dispel a few of the things that, I wouldn't say they're nasty grams, but I don't like to be told that really I don't know what I'm talking about. Or let me rephrase that. We don't know what we're talking about. And this is regarding the Tesla, drop in price. So what I want to do is I want to discuss a little bit about how we get what we get. This, and this, and this.
And more.
And there's 2 more of these things. I couldn't find them. But anyways, there's 2 more of these things. And if you look inside, guess what? I have the price of every detail, every screw, every nut, bolt, little teeny tiny plastic injection molding, castings.
Every chip. This is an actual, we look at each board and look at every chip to do a bill of material for all the circuit boards as well.
So some very knowledgeable guy, I guess, he put out some stuff about how he and his friend sat down in an afternoon, and on the back of an envelope or a napkin, they figured out how much everything's going to cost at Tesla. Really? Really? That's the guy I don't want doing my taxes. I don't want any accountant telling me that, oh yeah, your taxes are about $10,000 or $2,000. Oh, maybe I'll pull another number out of my and I'll give you that. At the end of the day, we know exactly how much everything costs. And we also know what things normally people buy from the outside and what Tesla is making because they're vertically integrated. I don't get too upset too often, but all we really sell is integrity. Corey and I will talk to you all day long about what we can do and how we can do it. And we have real numbers to back it up, not a bunch of characters that somehow, even though they don't drive, they have no idea what goes inside a factory, never worked on design of any kind of a product ever in their whole life. I don't even know how many products I've helped design. I can tell you for sure, though, I'm getting worked up, so Corey.
And our numbers aren't static. So when we got the Tesla Model 3 in 2018, we costed it at that point in time with the numbers that the world had for material costs and manufacturing costs. When we did the Model Y in 2020, things had started to change. When we updated our model for the 2022 Model Y, we even took in some of the inflationary factors.
Right. Yeah.
So what's really important is you can't take numbers from a point in time in 2018 or even 2015 and just extrapolate or interpolate.
This can have significant implications. In 2016, when Tesla revealed the Model 3 for the very first time to the world toward the beginning of the year in the first half, they talked about a $35,000 starting price. Guess what? $35,000, inflation adjusted, in 2023, $42,677. Inflation is no fucking joke, which is also one of the wonderful advantages of securing long-term debt. Now, I'm not advising you guys and girls get leverage to the hilt, but I am willing to disclose that I currently carry more than $2 million of debt. Happily, my debt doesn't change. The fixed amount that I owe to the banks does not change. However, over time, the value of the money, in terms of its actual buying power, is gently being eroded. It's almost as if inflation is paying down some of my mortgages for me passively while I sleep. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of interest associated as well. But the point is, let's give an extreme example. If I had a 30-year mortgage, I took it out in 1993, 30 years later in 2023, a $100,000 mortgage that I'd originally taken out, the value of that debt approximately halved over that time. In other words, without me paying down the debt at all, I effectively owe half as much in real terms as I did 30 years ago, just due to inflation. If you own appreciating assets, inflation is your best friend. If you don't own appreciating assets, big problem. This is why cash is trash. If you're a saver, if you're super conservative, you don't want to take any risks investing, you know what you do? You save up cash. And over 30 years, the buying power of your cash halves.
You have to continually refine our craft. And that's what we do here at Munro Associates. Yeah. We have a team of nearly 100 people that's what we are doing. We have our pulse on the wiring industry. We have our pulse on the materials that go into castings, everything, the machinery costs, the labor rates in different countries.
Even the suppliers of like Hydra and all the other different suppliers of machine tools and whatnot. We have everything. When we give you a number, it's dead accurate. There's no room for anything, for any kind of a wiggle. And we do it in a conservative way. In other words, we know that Tesla is getting aluminum cheaper than everybody else. And the reason for that is because a long time ago, they made deals with the aluminum companies, and they use special aluminums that only have their alloys in them. However, in order to keep it light and lively, we kind of like use what you can get off of the normal aluminum that would be sold. Yeah, the aluminum market is volatile. It goes up and down a lot. However, if you make a long-term commitment to an aluminum company, you get it at a different rate, and we know that.
Another important and very much underappreciated point. Remember, it was Tesla, and Tesla alone, who had the vision and foresight back in 2014 to know the world would transition to EVs. And they would be, excuse the pun, leading the charge. They announced plans to build a battery factory that would have capacity to produce enough batteries to go in 500,000 vehicles a year in 2020. The entire world laughed at Tesla at the time. The planned capacity for the factory once fully ramped would have been more than the world's entire cumulative lithium-ion battery production back in 2014. Everyone thought they were mad. Turns out Tesla's decision aged rather well. And a result of knowing that they would need these batteries, Tesla was able to partner with companies like Panasonic and commit to long-term contracts of battery cell supply at vastly discounted rates. In short, he or she who buys the most shit over the longest period of time gets the shit for the cheapest average price. This is how the market works. And it's very important to understand that that doesn't just apply to the historical example. It still applies today. Tesla is aiming, and they've been publicly telling the world, we're aiming for 20 million vehicles produced per year in 2030. Tesla knows that's what they're aiming for. So along the way, they've been negotiating contracts, material contracts, supply contracts. If you're a battery company and Tesla comes a knocking and says, hey motherfuckers, we would like literally every single battery cell you can produce for the next decade, please, thanks. Let's lock in a gigantic contract. The first thing you do as said company is get down on your hands and knees and say, Tesla, what do we need to do to finalize this deal? You can have your way with this. We really want this big, juicy, delicious contract. Alternatively, if you're an incompetent company led by a moron such as, let's randomly pick an automotive manufacturer, General Motors. You go knocking on a company's door and go, hey guys, we'd like a couple of batteries, maybe, possibly, sort of, we think, because we lead and it matters. Can we get a good deal on those, like cheap? The battery company says, nah, f off. You're paying market rates. So it's so important to understand. Tesla has huge competitive advantages in terms of costs. So many of the critical and most importantly, the most expensive thing going in electric vehicles. It's not just that they can produce vehicles cheaper based on their manufacturing techniques, things like the gigapress, the heat pump and so on. It's that they can also source materials themselves, not just batteries, but things like the alloys, cheaper than anyone else can as well. Barring the couple of exceptions where a company might be able to source windows just that little bit cheaper than Tesla because maybe they're Volkswagen and they produce a few more vehicles using glass windows than Tesla currently does. This is a massively underappreciated fact. Buy lots of stuff, commit to a long-term contract, get it below market value. Bulk discounts are a real thing.
So what I'm going to give you are the conservative numbers we have right now, but I absolutely flat out know that Tesla is probably looking at 40% gross profit. And because they don't do any, by the way, the general accepted number for marketing and sales of a vehicle is not sales, but marketing of a vehicle is probably somewhere around $600. The other number that you see that is kind of like different than everybody else is how much they have to pay the dealerships. They don't pay any dealerships. Now they've got the service centers and stuff like that, but that's peanuts in comparison. And quite frankly, service centers can make you money.
Yeah, and Sandy, dealerships in the state of Michigan, what are some of the richest private companies?
Not some of the richest.
The richest companies in Michigan are typically dealership networks.
That's correct.
I don't want to name them, but if you look at medium-sized businesses or privately owned businesses, it's dealership network, dealership network, dealership network, dealership network. Where did they get all of those hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe near billions of dollars if they're a large conglomerate? It's from pulling that cash off of the price of the vehicle for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Exactly.
Correct. There is a reason that I occasionally, in fact, exclusively refer to these things as car stealerships. They literally rob customers f***ing blind by jacking up the prices on vehicles constantly. Oh, this dickhead doesn't know how to negotiate. Let's charge him an extra $5,000. What an idiot. Save for masochists. I don't believe there is a single person on earth who enjoys the experience of going into a car stealership, not knowing what they're going to be paying for a vehicle and having to negotiate with a bunch of car salespeople. It's a bad customer experience. It's also terrible as a business because you're pissing away money. The more middlemen along this process, the less money you make per vehicle sold as a business. Stealerships are not good for the companies they're associated with, nor are they good for customers. Therefore, they need to die, and guess what? They're going to. Tesla has proven direct-to-consumer works in automotive.
And so we look at these numbers and we say, okay, Tesla sold a vehicle for $49,000. Okay, that's what the sticker price is. But Tesla gets extra revenue. If you want to buy full self-driving, that's another 10 grand.
15 grand.
15 grand now. 15 grand. That's clean, pure profit. Does that show up in the sale? No, it doesn't. But that's where my 40% is coming from, and it may be even more than that. Tesla is rolling in dough.
Believe it or not, that is actually an understatement. Tesla is more than rolling in dough. Now, this should surprise approximately 0 people. Amazingly, however, it surprised the entire stock market. Now, I hate to be that guy. I'm just kidding. I love being that guy. But I started this YouTube channel before Tesla was rolling in dough, pointing out that, hey, they're going to be rolling in dough very soon, and no one's figured it out yet. Here's why they're going to be rolling in dough. Hello. And sure enough, Tesla did soon begin rolling in dough as they scaled production up. Economies of scale. Who would have thought? Started printing insane amounts of money. The stock literally went to the moon, and then Mars, and then returned to the moon, where it currently stays. And the reason that I pointed this out before people figured this out, and obviously there were exceptions, but not that many, is because it's about to happen again. If you thought Tesla was rolling in dough now, just you fucking wait until they scale up production to a few million vehicles per year and the robotaxi fleet awakens. It's going to happen again. And yes, the stock market does not realize this. Again. I mean, there is a reason why I still continue to buy Tesla with every spare cent, and I was still buying Tesla with every spare cent around $400 a share, $350, $300, $250, $200, $150. Near 100, because I'm looking to Tesla's future cash flow and thinking, a couple of $1 billion a quarter, who cares about that? Wait a couple of years till 10 plus billion a quarter, and then more. There is a point in time, I believe, where Tesla will be bringing in more than $100 billion in profit every single quarter. And no, it's not tomorrow or next year. Relax, you Tesla Q dolts. But it is in Tesla's future, in my opinion. I don't think the stock market thinks this is likely. Time will tell.
I don't know where they hide it or how they do what they do. But I can tell you right now, I work for several different big automotive companies in Europe, in Japan, and here in the United States. And I can tell you what, nobody can do that. Nobody, absolutely nobody.
So, if he's right, spoiler alert, he is, and Tesla has insane pricing power due to insanely high profit margins that no other company can compete with, how do these companies compete with Tesla when it comes to the EV transition? While Tesla's making $10,000+ on every vehicle sold, if you're losing a few $1,000s on every vehicle sold, or at best making a few dollars, and Tesla drops their prices by 5, 6, 7, 8, 10+%, and you want to keep selling vehicles, kind of means you need to drop your prices too. But if you're not making any money and you drop your prices, that means you make even less money on every vehicle sold. And by even less money, I mean you literally lose money. Many thousands of dollars per vehicle sold, meaning the more vehicles you sell, the more money you lose. Now, I'm no expert, but I don't know if that's a sustainable business model. Just saying. And why is it? Tesla is able to make compelling vehicles so much more profitably than others in the automotive industry. It is because Tesla is an engineering and an optimization machine at every level of the business. And I don't just mean the products, the technology, the manufacturing techniques, the gigafactories. I mean everything. They have no dealership network because it's unnecessary. That makes them more efficient and more profitable. They don't pay any money to advertise because they don't need to manipulate consumers into buying their products because they're so fucking good they just sell themselves. But yes, Tesla also optimizes the actual physical product. You've got the gigacasting, the octavalve heat pump. Tesla's continuously deleting parts and processes, making their vehicles more efficient, producing them for less money, meaning they've got higher profit margins and or more pricing power. Tesla is a never-ending optimization machine. This is not true of any other automotive company. None. Instead, just about every other automotive company is a keep doing the same shit we've been doing machine. Won't end well. Now, I think it's safe to say that almost every single person watching this video appreciates and understands the importance of engineering. This is what Munro Associates do. It is their bread and butter. And this is why they continue to praise Tesla above everyone else for their stunning innovations in terms of engineering. Importantly, optimization. Driving the cost of their vehicles down, their manufacturing techniques, innovating in terms of what actually needs to go in a vehicle. We've seen things like the gigantic gigacasting, the octavalve heat pump. Tesla continues to innovate and optimize at every level. It's not just the vehicle design themselves, but the manufacturing systems, optimizing the factories. From top to bottom, Tesla engineers are focused on optimization and improvement, which means we have something in common. Shout out to Athletic Greens AG1 for sponsoring this part of today's video. One of my secret weapons in terms of optimizing my own health, energy, output, performance, and productivity. I'm not joking around. I view my own body like a system, like a gigafactory, constantly thinking how can I optimize it to become more efficient. It's no accident that I've literally doubled my daily video output as a result of optimizing my own system, and Athletic Greens AG1 is one of my biggest hacks. Now look, I'll be honest here guys. If you want to run your body like General Motors runs their business, razor thin margins on the verge of bankruptcy, this is not for you. If you want to keep doing what you've been doing, this is not for you. But if like Tesla, you want to optimize everything, it is my honest opinion that Athletic Greens AG1 is a non-negotiable. This stuff covers so many bases, it is unbelievable. I do everything I possibly can to optimize for health, energy, and longevity. The way I would best describe Athletic Greens AG1 is like a Swiss Army knife for optimizing your own health, energy, and well-being. And I'm not messing around. One daily serving has an incredibly powerful blend of multivitamins, of minerals, probiotics, adaptogens, and loads more, affecting everything from gut health, to energy. Just as Tesla has optimized every aspect of the vehicle production systems in their factories, so too Athletic Greens have optimized every aspect of AG1. This is a truly comprehensive product. Prebiotics and probiotics promote gut health, which is super important. Your gut can not only affect your energy levels, but also your mood. AG1 also supports your immune system, meaningfully boosts energy, at least in my case, as I've mentioned previously. Prior to taking Athletic Greens AG1 every day, I was getting tired in the afternoon. I thought, I'm just getting old. This is normal. I'm just going to feel tired every afternoon around 3 or 4. My fucking life. I'm getting old. And I'm pleased to report that within a week or two of starting Athletic Greens, and this was a catalyst for me ranting and raving to all of my friends and family, no more afternoon fatigue. The other pillar of AG1 is recovery. Assuming you're not a fat motherfucker or a total slob and you actually move your body a little bit and lift some heavy things now and then. If you don't, rest in fucking peace. Before you even consider AG1, I'd fix your fucked up lifestyle first. But if you do exercise and your body needs to recover, AG1 helps with that as well. Athletic Greens has an awesome offer for viewers of this channel. athleticgreens.com/SMR. You can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, plus 5 Athletic Greens AG1 travel packs. And the best part of all, it's a money back guarantee. If you don't like it, don't feel a difference in 90 days, you can get your money back. This is as much of a no-brainer as it was for Tesla to pioneer the gigantic casting to make huge portions of their vehicles in a single cast piece instead of cobbling together hundreds of parts and additional processes. In my opinion, if you want to optimize your health, energy and well-being, Athletic Greens is the best bang for buck out there. So what are you waiting for? What's the worst that could happen? You could feel better, perform better, have more energy? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So head over to athleticgreens.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and thank me later.
So I'm going to read off some stuff that Jordan gave me just a few minutes ago. This is the uber conservative numbers that he came up with. Uber conservative. And I'm blind because of that light. I cannot read a damn thing. Can you read that?
I'll read it.
I want to know. It's 31% and 33%, right?
So we got 31% gross margin on a 2018 Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive, pre-heat pump. And then we have a 33% gross margin on a 2022 Model Y with a heat pump. That's based on a vehicle price that's in line with the price cuts.
Yeah, yes, exactly right. So we look at that and we say, okay, that's that's the first number. And 31 and 33% is the first number. The second number is, what's the add-on, the second bite of the apple, and in some cases the third and fourth bite of the apple that Tesla gets and nobody else gets? 15 plus a couple of grand, plus a couple of grand, plus a couple of grand. And there's no cost in here, none whatsoever. Elon puts out a little tweet and says, hey, you want to get full self-driving? It costs this much. You want to get this? Want to get that? It costs this much. Want to get some of these features and functions? Want to get some of the swag that comes along with it? This much, that much. Who gets that? Nobody. Nobody.
Once again, Sandy Munro spitting some facts. Now, let's take a moment here. Tesla today already makes more money than any other automotive company on earth. Just selling the hardware, the vehicle itself. That alone is an indictment of the entire automotive industry. Tesla's only been at this for about 15 years. What the fuck have they been doing for the last century? Nothing. But in addition, as Sandy points out, after they've sold the hardware and made insane industry-leading margins on just the hardware, they can also sell software, which, as Sandy points out, is effectively pure profit. It doesn't cost Tesla a whole lot of money to have a little bit of code written, so when somebody pays them $15,000, bang, suddenly they can now operate their vehicle with the full self-driving package. The gross margins on FSD have got to be in the high 90% range. It's almost pure profit. There are no other automotive manufacturers who can do this. Tesla also software locks some physical hardware features we've seen in the past. Acceleration upgrades, the ability to turn on heated seats in parts of the car for an upgrade. Never mind Tesla insurance, never mind future entertainment, communication software, etc. I've been saying this for a long time. Once autonomy is solved, the amount of software revenue Tesla's going to do will explode. When you no longer need to pay attention to the road as a driver, when you do not need to supervise the car at all, what are you going to do with your time while in the vehicle? Spoiler alert, you'll be using and interacting with the huge touchscreen inside the vehicle. Doing what exactly? Gaming, watching entertainment, communicating, working. You'll be able to subscribe to services in a Tesla vehicle. There'll be partnerships and deals with Netflix, with Prime, and so on, where if you subscribe to this service inside a Tesla, Tesla gets a tiny cut. In addition, Tesla will have their own software. There'll be partnerships with game developers. It's not just the FSD software that consumers can buy, but in the future, there's going to be a ton of infotainment stuff they can buy as well, after the fact. This is why the most important thing to focus on as a Tesla investor is the size of Tesla's active vehicle fleet, which, for the record, is something that I've had in my Tesla valuation model since day one. The size of Tesla's vehicle fleet is effectively their active install base. And my best guess is around the end of the decade, give or take, keeping in mind it's growing exponentially, so a couple of years could make a gigantic difference. Somewhere around the end of the decade, Tesla's global fleet will be about 100 million vehicles. To put it in context, if a fleet of 100 million vehicles each did about $1,000 of high margin software revenue in a single year, that'd be about $100 billion of profit, straight to Tesla's bottom line. $1,000 a year is less than $3 a day, less than $85 a month. And I'm not saying every person in the future who owns a Tesla will be spending money on software. Many will. Many will be subscribed to the FSD package, probably itself a few $100 per month. Not $85, a few $100 per month. That doesn't include any future infotainment stuff either. So let's recap. Tesla's already making more money than anyone in the automotive industry just selling the vehicles, the hardware. Plus, they're the only game in town, the only company in the automotive industry who can make extremely high margin software revenue after selling a vehicle. This is why it's so important to keep an eye on Tesla's vehicle fleet size. This is the money printer of all money printers.
$600. Remember, I told you a second ago, $600 is what you pay for marketing of a car, and they don't have to do it. So when you look at gross margins for a normal car, you basically say, I started with, let's say somebody out there has got 30%, which they don't, 30% margin, you'd whack it, and you'd wind up at the end of the day with about 3 or 4% net profit. How much does Tesla make in net profit? Take a wild guess. If you're less than 20%, you're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about.
Sandy Munro has officially engaged full savage mode. We've got to listen to that again.
How much does Tesla make in net profit? Take a wild guess. If you're less than 20%, you're a fool. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the starting point. Now you go on top of it. So when I said that Tesla could cut their profits in half and still make more money than any car company on the planet, I am not kidding you. And if you don't believe that, ask the guys over at VW with the ID4. The ID4 now is $4,000 more expensive than a Model Y. Who in the hell is going to buy the Model Y? Who's going to buy an ID4 if I can get a Model Y with the best charging systems on the planet, with all the right things going for it, with the fact that they're probably going to beat everybody to full self-driving eventually. Anyway, I'm starting to rattle on. Why don't you take over?
Yeah, so this has been a big topic this week, and I want to thank Farzad. He had me on his channel earlier, I think a couple days ago. We had an hour and 30-minute conversation, particularly on some of these topics. We truly do know what things cost. And a lot of people will essentially talk based off of a napkin.
Yes. Anybody who's ever seen Pet Detective, I wanted to do it all by myself when he started talking about talking through your and but they won't let me do that here. Apparently it's degrading and the woke people will get all upset and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the talking through my thing.
I'm fucking dead. I'm absolutely fucking dead.
But if you go to Jim Carrey, who's, kind of like a Hollywood guy, and you go to Pet Detective and you go and see him, he talks through his and that is precisely what I'm getting when I see people, the last one, I could not delete the email fast enough. I can't believe that people can be so incredibly stupid and they're the ones who are telling the market what to do. What, are you kidding me? Are you joking?
Nice to hear Sandy Munro taking a well-deserved dump across the face of some of these so-called industry experts who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I'm starting to get the feeling that Sandy Munro and I harbour similar levels of disdain towards these so-called experts who have literally no idea what they're talking about, yet continue to be pedestalized and believed just because they claim to be an expert.
This is the best move that Tesla could possibly make. They will annihilate their competition because their cars are cheaper than anybody else can make them. And now they're cheaper than that. How is anybody going to be able to compete?
So, words matter, and Sandy Munro just used a couple of rather important ones. Tesla will annihilate the so-called competition. He also said something suspiciously familiar sounding, asking the question, how will anyone compete? Of course, we all know the answer. They won't. They're going bankrupt. You can count on it.
At the end of the day, the 40% is what I'm going to roll with because I believe that that's probably what they're going to have, maybe even more than that. And I believe that if they don't make 20%, actually on that, that they might make even more, like 22, 23%
Now, I have a
net
question.
profit.
Cybertruck. Cybertruck, not Tesla
Okay,
Semi.
all right.
What do you think on the Cybertruck?
Okay, so yesterday Corey and I pulled a number out of our butts. And my number was 35%. Corey didn't tell me his. I said 35%. What did you say?
I said 37 when Prasad asked me the same question a few days ago.
Yeah.
I had a ton of qualifiers. I said, first of all, we don't have the vehicle yet.
Yeah.
We haven't costed it. I don't know what the model mix will be. So you're going to have the quad motor, the tri motor, the dual motor. How big's the battery pack? That model mix is highly dependent on the average transaction cost, not transaction price, and the transaction price. So with my rough math, I figured out what that mix would be for cost and price, and I came to about 37%.
So here's the thing. Anytime you've got a truck, you're going to pay more money. And there's way more profit in it. If you don't think for a second that Ford's move to electrify the F-150 wasn't the most brilliant move by any automotive company apart from Tesla, any company in the world, you're out of your mind.
I agree with this on many different levels. Let's talk about them. 1, they beat Tesla to market with an electric pickup truck. 420 IQ move there. Good on them. Capture some market share while you can. 2, pickup trucks are far and away the best-selling vehicles in the United States. The top 3 selling pickup trucks in the US alone do close to 1 million units per year, at least in a good year. Ford has customers who are so loyal to the brand that they won't buy anything else. Electrifying their flagship pickup truck is a brilliant move. It will take a while. Some of the late adopters, some of the laggards who are very loyal to Ford, fucking electric, that's shit, right? Eventually, they'll figure out that the electric F-150 is actually a very decent pickup truck. And importantly, pickup trucks generally have high selling prices, meaning all other things being equal, they can be very profitable vehicles. If you don't know, in the United States, pretty much all profits from legacy automotive manufacturers come from the sale of pickup trucks. They basically don't make money on their sedans. There are exceptions, but this is generally true. And because Ford has an electric F-150 in the marketplace, they're now starting to learn. The ball is rolling. They're gaining an understanding about how to thermally manage batteries, how to manufacture electric vehicles. There'll be lots of improvement, but it's great that Ford has got the ball rolling. And the fact that they've done so quickly is actually very impressive. Admittedly, they're not selling a lot of F-150 Lightnings yet, still ramping up production. But at this point in time, the electric F-150 doesn't have competition. And no, the Rivian doesn't count. No offense, but that is a pickup truck you can throw in your fucking handbag when you go out on the weekend. It's not quite the same. Until Cybertruck is released, Ford has literally no competition in their segment. Such is the underlying demand for electric vehicles now, that even if Ford's F-150 Lightning was a piece of shit, it's still everyone they made. Good thing is, it's actually pretty decent. Win-win.
Ford made a genius move with the F-150. Genius. And I can tell you for sure that they are moving faster on electrification than any of the other OEMs that we know of. None of them are coming out as fast with as many different versions as they possibly can. These guys they're survivor. Tesla will clobber everybody except for the Chinese. The only reason there is that even though they've reduced their costs and whatnot, there is a stigma that was created by our own government, and now Americans are losing favor in the eyes of other parts of the world, China being the one in particular. So they're probably not going to be able to eclipse them, but remember, Tesla is running at a 40-second station time. That is phenomenal. Nobody in the U.S., none that I know of. Everybody goes to about 60, and that's about it. They're doing 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds, another car is coming off the line. Nobody's got that. I believe that that's why they're talking to Indonesia. Was kind of hoping that they'd go to Canada, but Indonesia makes a lot of sense as well. They'll be able to dump into the rest of the Asian world, as it were. It'll be a little less expensive there.
So to recap today's video, Tesla's making a shitload more money than anyone else in the automotive industry, and they're only just getting started. The reason they're making so much more money is because they continue to optimize and engineer the absolute out of every aspect of their business, top to bottom, including the management style, the way the business itself is structured, the lack of dealerships, and huge innovations in manufacturing techniques and technologies, plus benefiting more and more from economies of scale and some epic long-term supply contracts for materials and parts. The short story, it is literally impossible, unless you've got a financial death wish, to compete with Tesla. Their big brain engineers have already optimized too much. Competing companies may as well just give up. But they're not going to, but they should. And remember, you want to optimize yourself like Tesla optimizes their vehicles, their production systems, and is so profitable? Athletic Greens AG1 is a no-brainer. Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link in the pinned comment. And finally, don't forget, head over to Patreon if you'd like access to nearly 300 exclusive videos and counting fast. So, see you over on Patreon. Love ya.